Welcome back to Boruto and review episode 209 part 2. You're probably scratching your head like part 2 and yet your last episode was this very number. Why isn't it 210? Because I don't want misnumbering for it. That's simply the reason for it. This one discussing episode 209 of Boruto Naruto Next Generation, which is called The Outcast. And this is actually going to be the first about 2 or 3 in a row of anime original episodes. Yep. Simply put, for this one, this focuses on Kwanaki and Himawari. It starts off with basically a dream sequence where it's all in red. We start off basically hiddenly. We see the Hokage, and all of a sudden the sky turns red, and then you're probably thinking, sky turning red. Is Crescent Universe happening in the Naruto universe? No, it just basically, it's like this because something really bad is happening. And we see the cast of the series lie down like a bunch of dead bodies, which are basically the characters. But I remember seeing, I saw Sai, Naruto, like all the characters all dead, except for Kwanaki. And above him, floating, is Joggin, the leader of Kara. And seems like Joggin's about to do something, and then Kwanaki wakes up. Yep, it was all a dream sequence. And apparently Kwanaki's room is actually Naruto's office. So he sleeps on the couch. Okay. And on the desk is the vase he broke several episodes back. That for some reason is back in the office, despite the fact when it was last seen in the previous episode, it was already back on the dining room table. Not really sure why. And then he has breakfast. And then you have Hinata, basically, of course, all the families. Hinata's like, wait, didn't I have a ham in this fridge? And Naruto's like, wasn't me. And Boruto's like, it wasn't me. Himawari denies it. And Kwanaki's like, don't look at me. I didn't take it. Don't accuse me of taking it. Yep. And Naruto, oh, don't worry. I'll pick up a ham on the way home from work. And Himawari's like, okay. Yep. And then Naruto disappears after that for pretty much the rest of the episode. Yep, he just seen this one scene in the episode, and he is mentioned several times after this. But appearance-wise, no, does not make appearance. And then we see Boruto going for training with Mitsuki. Doesn't mention Sadara, probably because she's training with her father. So he says no, and then of course he says stay at home. And Himawari basically takes a couple of she goes in the kitchen, takes a couple of sausages out of the freezer, though that kind of look like hot dogs. Yeah, for some reason, sausage links in this world apparently look like hot dogs. Takes a couple of them, and Kwanaki decides to follow her. What does she do with them? Apparently, she's been stealing food from the house for about a week, possibly because she mentions that this thing that she came across. She counted last week. And what does she find? A wolf. A white wolf. Who's got scars on it and doesn't like Kwanaki, but does like Himawari. So, Himawari takes food from the house, and then later on, of course, well, does like it, and then they come by, I think it's like later. They come back a couple times in the episode. So after that, then, of course, they decide to go back home and, well, not tell her mom about this. Of course, now it does appear a good chunk of this episode. I mean, when it comes to this episode, this is probably the most she's actually appeared in quite a while in the series. And Boruto was wondering why in the world that Kwanaki was acting strange. Before he started checking out what Himawari was doing, he was on the roof of the house. Which I'm thinking, wait, why isn't any character in the series ever gone on the roof of this house? I mean, clearly looks like there's another set of stairs that, well, it could look like there's like a door there with a ladder. And as far as I know, I think Kwanaki is the first person to ever go on the top of the Uzumaki house. Yeah, the characters have shown going on rooftops before, but not on the top of the Uzumaki house for some reason. It's like the characters have never been able to do that. And you see here, you have Boruto just climbing on the roof. And apparently, Kwanaki got up there somehow. And I'm thinking, why the heck did they wait like 209 episodes into the series to find out the character go on the roof of this house? Because never been shown before, and there's probably not going to happen next episode. So you have Kwanaki and Himawari leave early to go back to see the wolf. And then the wolf is confronted by like 3 other wolves who are basically like regular looking wolves. And of course, well, Himawari, of course, the wolf is of course, she calls the wolf Jaggy because of his ears. So later on, of course, Kwan comes with the interesting idea, basically use some free, like, some leftover bread that basically don't have to pay for, just bread ends, like the heels. And they go and give it to the wolf. And then we also see he apparently wrote something and pours toss in the garbage. And then later on, while Kwanaki and Himawari go off to see Jaggy, we see Mitsuki and Boruto pulling up grass. Which, this is strange. Like, nobody in the series has ever done this before that I've seen. Not even the whole franchise. I mean, who pulls up grass? They probably like, I'm thinking though, like, don't they have technology to mow their lawns? Why would they need to pull up grass for while she's doing laundry? This makes no freaking sense at all. And then and of course, Mitsuki is there. Yeah, this actually is his only appearance, aside from that brief image we saw at the beginning. Oh yeah, and Sai, he was one of the people on the ground. That brief image, that dream sequence, that's the only appearance you see him in the whole episode. Yeah, Mitsuki, one of the featured characters of the series, is seen for this one scene, and that is it. So they're still playing, and of course they chat about the karma. And then Hinata calls Boruto upstairs to come up for a moment. And then we see, like, that Kwanaki and Himawari couldn't find Jaggy, and of course Jaggy's already found dead. So they bury it, and of course, well, Himawari is mourning over Jaggy's death. And then he says, leave. Where is he to go? Out of the village, until he's stopped by Boruto, because he found his note. And he tells he shouldn't leave the village, and he's like, I should really leave the village because, well, who knows? Jaggy might come back. And he proceeds to walk toward the gate. And then Shikamaru shows up out of nowhere. Yes, Shikamaru. Like, I'm thinking that Boruto, he must have called him. Because I'm sure his father's probably super busy. And why not contact Shikamaru? I'm sure he's probably not as busy as, let's say, Naruto. So, Kwanaki's like, you don't want me here in the first place, I'm just going to leave my own free will. And he's like partially at the gate, he's like walking past the threshold, and then somehow, apparently, like, Shikamaru does his shadow paralysis jutsu, while apparently have his hands in his pockets. I'm like, normally he has to basically hold a hand sign when he does the shadow paralysis jutsu. And here he just basically does just hands in his pockets. I'm like, did the animators forget he's supposed to do the hand sign? Because every other time I basically have seen those in the anime and the manga, heck, even even the Shikamaru light novel I read, he does the hand sign. Here he just hands the pockets like he's freaking Orange Cassidy from AEW, and just does it that way. So after the convincing, getting him to stop, and Shikamaru's like, I'll leave the rest of you, Boruto. He's like, sure. And they chat, and of course they agree to stay. And then the episode ends with Kawaki going back to where Jaggy was buried. And Himawari is still there. Apparently it should be like a reef for him. Of course, she says, oh yeah, we'll visit now and again. Like, okay. And that's how the episode ends. The preview for the next episode looks interesting because the Hidden Leaf Village is going to be singing Baro's cult. Baro, as in the guy who got killed off just, not this episode, but basically for next week. Just the guy who got killed off 2 episodes back. I'm like, really? We're now investigating the cult? Like, wow, that was quick. And the way it looks from the episode titles, that possibly we're probably going to stay with this cult for at least for, I'd probably say, like 1 or 2 episodes. And then we're going to go back to the manga where We're going to back. My guess is Armando 212, based on the title. We're going to go back up in the manga again. But the question is, how much further are they going to go? Because the manga just this month, actually it was last month, just released the 68th chapter of the manga. As of right now, they're roughly about 44 chapters in. There's about 16 chapters left. But for the arc itself, there's about 14 chapters left. So maybe they're gonna take. Maybe they decide to take a break for an episode just to give the manga a break, and then we're gonna go back to it. Possibly, yes. The episode itself is actually pretty interesting. It feels like a day off episode. A little bit serious, isn't it? Now, in the case of Himawari, like, when was the last time an episode of the series focused on her? Like, I think the last time I could think of was when she attempted to join the hidden when she attempted to when she took part in that Ninja Day at the Academy. Yeah, but that was a while ago. Like, I had to look it up in here. Like, when the heck was that? Like, I'm thinking it was basically like not that long ago. Like, it seems like it's been like a long time since she's been involved with anything in this series. Mm-hmm. Let's see. I'm trying to look see when was the last time she was actually involved with the plot of an episode. So, let's see. According to the information I'm looking up on here, that I think like the last time officially she was involved with any plot of the episode. My chin's itching. Let's see. I would probably say not since episode 138. That kind of in a way probably was the most recent I could think of she's involved in a plot in a lot of the episodes. I mean, occasionally she shows up basically to acknowledge she's there, but physically in the plot, that's interesting to say the least. Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, that's it particular view. Stay tuned if I get a chance to do a video today. If not, well, don't worry about it, okay? Until we see the next video. Bye.